Hey guys, RealFan220 here. So today you can see we're not on the layout, outside, actually. And I'm going to do a how-to video on weathering using powders. And I apologize because I'm not using a locomotive. I'm sure that would be more useful, but you'll pretty much use the same techniques. I'm just going to do this because right now I don't have a locomotive that I really want to weather. So there'll be multiple steps, and I'll show those. So first step is this Floquil flat finish, and it's just in a spray can, which actually works okay. There's also the alternative of using an airbrush and getting the flat finish there, but for the purpose of weathering just cars right now, this works just as well, and it would work well on engines too. So if you want to, go ahead. I would use the same method on engines. It's just there's some extra things you need to do, like cover the wheel sets, cover the windows and stuff. But I should, as I said, be doing a video on that later, like all the steps to do an engine. But for now, we're just going to use this. So if I can get this open, I'll shake it really quick, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so I shook it, and the reason we're going to spray this first is to give it some tooth for the actual powders to set in. So we'll need to let that sit for about 10 minutes to let it dry fully, and then we're going to use the weathering powders. I just brought 3 up because it should be enough. I have the light rust, this light gray, actually medium gray, never mind, powder, and then I think this is just earth, medium earth color. And that's all you really need for weathering this car. So let me, gotta shift around here, try to use one hand and do this. Hopefully I'll succeed. But make sure you're going downwind. I think the wind's going that way, so I'll get out of the way really quick. And you want to hold it about this far away. That's like a foot and a half, and you're just gonna spray back and forth, real lightly. You don't want to get too close, it doesn't splatter, but we'll just test really quick, make sure it's good. So that's good. Now go across it once and get that out of the air. You can, hold on, my bad. So you can see it's kind of shiny, and that's good. That means it got all over. We'll do one more quick pass on the bottom here. So that's good on that side. Got that, and I'll just be careful. I do have gloves on. You should wear gloves. The other thing, I'm just moving that with my right hand. We'll do the end really quick. Same distance. See, it looks good, nice and shiny. So that's covered. And then do this side, same thing. Focus there. There we go. I think that's covered. One quick pass. And finally for this end, do it really quick. So that looks good to me. Alright, so that's that. This side appears to be covered. I'm just checking. And the reason you also do this is for fingerprints, because when you apply the weathering powders, you don't want fingerprints to show up, but this actually will cover up the fingerprints. And I'll go over it a second time. You may have seen that, just because the oils might repel this the dull coat or flat finish, so that's why I would go over it. But that's step 1. I think it turned out well. So let this dry for about 10 minutes and then come back and we'll actually start weathering. I'll show you like where to put the powders and how to do it. And then the third step is spraying again, then we'll take it down to the layout. So now we're gonna get the powders open, get this medium gray out. And since I have kind of retrofitted these cars, at least on my layout, to ballast or rock service, I don't know if, I'm pretty sure that doesn't really happen, but for the purposes of my layout, that's what I'm doing. And I'm sure with a little structural work that could happen in real life. But that's why I have this medium gray here. So I open that up. I'm going to get the light rust open as well using one hand. It's a great idea. Okay, and hopefully those don't fall over. Then I also have this medium earth, as I said, and if it doesn't get too windy, stuff won't fly everywhere. But put that down, put these over here. So the first one we're going to do is medium earth. You're going to pick up a little bit in your brush, make sure this, if you can see that, some on the end. If you can focus, focus, focus. There we go. Some on the end. And then you're just going to kind of like dab it onto the car. As you can see, there is some powder there. Get it to focus, oh my gosh. There we go. So there's some powder there. It's probably a little much, but just brush across here, and you can see it's dropping the powder across, and that's good. So now, just lightly with your brush, this is the brush I'm using. Usually you want a wide variety, like a fan brush, and then a tiny brush. But I'm just going to do overall weathering. So you can see that's a little darker. Sorry about that. A little darker there, or a little dirtier. It's actually lighter, but you're just going to go up the panel, because that's how it would actually, the rain and all that, like the elements and stuff, you will have that pattern of the up and down weathering. So keep doing that. Sorry, there are bugs everywhere. Keep doing this, just go up and down, kind of smear it in, and then you'll use the same method on the other side. You might want to add a little more depending on how dirty you want it, but you can see it's already getting kind of it's getting like highlighted around the braces on the outside, and it doesn't look that dirty outside, but it should look better on the layout. So just keep doing that. I apologize, I wish I could keep doing this. It's just trying to do it with one hand isn't very effective. So let me stop and then I'll come back and we'll keep going around. Okay, so I got the other side. Let me show it to you really quick. I went a little heavier on the weathering. The camera doesn't pick it up very well. I wish it would, but it actually is fairly weathered. It's got a general weathering on it. I'm not going to weather it too hard, or too much, not hard, too heavy, just because it's in the new swoosh logo, and I'm pretty sure it was painted about 2007 or something like that. So I'll keep them fairly clean. So this will just be a light weathering, but hopefully it shows you what to do. So I got the general sides. You just want to brush up, and then for the ends you're going to get a little bit on your brush, drop some on there, but that's going to be a kind of like forward and backwards motion. You want to get it on the side braces there and the ladders on the ends too. Like over here you want to get that ladder, so just brush and get it off there. You want all the excess off. And then especially down here, it's going to be fairly dirty down here, so you're just going to brush on the actual bays there. So that's good. I'll do the other side too, but one of the most important parts is the trucks. So what you're going to do is get a lot of powder here. You're just going to dump it on the trucks, because those are just going to get really filthy really quickly. So you're just going to dump it on there and then just give it a nice coating till it looks really good. Should be fairly coated, so it looks dusty. And they can have variation. They're not all going to be the same, because you never know. One gets sprayed with water or something like that. Alright, and the reason I have the rust up here is also you're going to dab a little bit. I am mixing colors, but that's okay. And I just have a little bit on the tip there. You're just going to put some right there. I put some on the springs. I'll add a little more to the springs there. And then you're just going to brush down. Oh, my bad. Brush down to get it off. Just kind of dab it. But then it does highlight it and it looks really good. And you're going to do that on the bearing caps as well. And do that on all the trucks. I'll add some rust there. Dab it in there. And it just adds to it just a little bit. Like, it's not very clear, but it will add. So keep going around the car. I'll keep weathering. I'll need to do the same thing over here. Get this nice even weathering. And do the bays, and then I'll show you some highlights that I need to do. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got this side. As you can see, I got a general weathering layer here. Some panels are heavier than others, as you can see. but that's okay because that's how it really works. Still need to do the trucks on this side, but I'm just going to finish up really quick and show you how to do the ends, one of the most important pieces as well. I mean, it's all important, but these are going to be not super dirty because they're kind of like covered up in the train usually, but you are going to do a little weathering, just go up and down. Sorry, I wish I could hold this up, it's bad, but I'll show you in a second when I'm done. So just do a little up and down, just giving a light coat, or if you want it heavier, if the whole car is a little heavier weathered, then just do this a little heavier as well. So you're going to do that. And then if you notice, on train cars, there's always overspray from the wheels, and what you're going to try to do is get some up in there under this panel here. You don't have to, just something I like to add. So you're just going to like dab a little back there under this this panel back here. If I flip it over, you can see you're going to put a little there, like just where the wheels actually line up. So it's like where the rails are. You're just going to dab a little here and then spray it up. There's going to be a little overspray up here too, and then same thing over here as well. So you're going to try to do that. Don't need to, it's just a touch I add. I'll do that, but the other thing, just because of ballast dust and everything, I brought this medium gray up. So there's going to be a little kind of on the tips here. You're just going to brush on the end just to like kind of, I guess, mix it in. So it's going to be a little gray on the tips. Same over here. Add a little bit. Whoops, got a little much there. Get that off. But it just gives it a little highlight, and then you're also going to do this on the trucks as well, kind of the leading or the bottom edge. Just get some there, and get some. There we go. Well, it looks good. It's kind of nice gradient. Do that over here as well. Dab some there. Bring it across. Heavier on the bottom, and then kind of all across, and it gives it a good look. So that's that. That's pretty much it. Those are the steps of actual weathering. Let me finish up the end, and then we'll spray it, and it'll be all done. Okay, so I finished up the ends. It's hard to see. I wish this camera would pick it up, but if you can kind of see, it's a little darker. It's easier to see on the yellow. You can see where it's kind of streaked there. I mean, that's actually easier to do with an airbrush or a smaller brush, but I tried to simulate that. So that's it for weathering this car. It's very light, except it's more visible actually in person. This camera isn't picking it up well, but this is what you will do to actually weather the car. So those are the steps I use just to do light weathering. I highlight it a little bit with rust. Then eventually I will get the couplers as well, but I like to use an airbrush for that. I'm going to try to get the ends and then simulate the ballast dust and get a general coat over it. Yeah, I wish the camera would pick it up better. It's hard to see. But now I'm actually going to spray it. So that's the third and final step. You're just going to spray it again. So I'll cap these and put them to the side. And obviously, I think I explained this, the reason you do spray it is to prevent fingerprints or future fingerprints, so the weathering job doesn't get smudged or anything. So I'll throw these down here, set up the car using my glove, shake this again, and then using the same technique, if I can get this to stay down, same technique, you're just going to spray about this distance. Get it all covered there. So that looks good. When it dries, it'll look better. You can probably see the weathering. But sometimes you'll have to go back over it with weathering powders because sometimes it'll wash it off. That's always a possibility. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But that's also another reason we apply this first at the beginning, because it gives it something to stick to. gives the weathering something to stick to so it doesn't wash off the second time. So you can see it's covered there, hard to see. It's not very clear. This camera isn't picking anything up. Well, that's it. That's how you weather a car using powder. So thanks for watching. That's all you do. If you have questions, please ask. Hopefully that was helpful. I know it's kind of hard to see